You are now watching the Movie Juice Podcast.
The juice is loose.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Movie Juice Podcast. I'm Dylan.
I'm Kyle.
And I'm James.
Movie Juice! Movie Juice! Movie Juice! Movie Juice! Juice the movies!
Oh yeah!
Oh yeah!
Word?
James is back this week.
What up?
How'd the mission go? Was it a success?
Nah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I
I found a really good movie, actually,
Hell yeah.
that we're going to record.
What did Jeff book you on with traveling?
Yeah, we were curious how he was at travel
Yeah,
agency.
because
He did a good job.
That's good.
I flew Delta.
Hell yeah. They may be good. I don't remember.
I flew with them once in 2012.
I don't really remember. The last time I rode a plane was like a year or two ago. Or no, like a
You
year
rode
ago.
the plane?
Yeah, outside.
Hot.
I don't remember what company it was, but that was the last time I rode one.
Yeah, man, that was my first time on an airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool.
Anyway, this week we watched The Night Before, one of our favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say one of it. Probably is my favorite.
It probably.
one.
I got done like definitely at the end of this movie. I definitely thought to myself, this probably is like as an adult my favorite Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Like
It's also one that doesn't get talked about a lot.
agreed, and it should because it's fucking fun. I was laughing through this whole movie.
I feel like it flew under the radar a lot when it came out.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think what skyrocketed it for me originally was I actually saw it in theaters because I think. My parents went to a movie. I went to something else when this came out, and like I fucking fell in love with this movie instantly.
Yeah, I watched it with a coworker at the movie theater.
Oh yeah,
I also watched it with coworkers at the movie theater, but we did not
but
watch
not
it
the
together.
same. Not,
Yeah.
you guys
And
weren't
then-
the same.
I think I went on like a random weekday or something.
Yeah, I did
Right.
too. And then I went on the guy that was ushering that night. He went on his lunch break, and I went with him. And we had a spiritual journey in the break room to a song called "Sailing" by Christopher Cross.
It's a great fucking song.
But yeah, I remember. I'd only seen this movie.
My parents have his autograph.
When
I
they
don't-
go to every concert, he go. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he signed the set list for him.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'd only seen this movie once before, like a week ago. I had not watched it again since I saw it in theaters.
right.
I watch it pretty much
every
year.
Christmas. Yeah,
There's been a couple I haven't, but
I'm not really like it's Christmas time, I'm going to watch Christmas movies kind of person.
this is the only one I watch.
This is the first year I've ever
And
done
then-
that.
I think Elf comes up a lot too because I love Elf.
Yeah,
And there's
But-
like a few. I always watch. I mean, it's always debated, but I always watch Die Hard on Christmas Eve with my parents.
this is the only one I go out of my way to watch.
I feel like
every year.
I normally watch Elf.
I do like Elf a
And
lot.
then I will, if I remember, I will watch 8 Crazy Nights. If I remember.
Same. I try and watch Home Alone as well because my dad. A couple years ago, my dad was like, "Let's watch Home Alone." I'm like, "You like Home Alone? I've never heard you mention it."
My
And
mom-
ever since then, I try and watch it with my dad because it's been like a little thing me and my dad like to do.
My mom was watching it the other day.
I like Home Alone. I like the second one too.
I even like the third one,
Yeah, me too.
even though like it's not it's not
it's not Macaulay Culkin.
yeah it's not. I don't even think it's like Kevin McAllister, but like I remember it would come on Disney around the holidays, and I didn't hate it.
I've never watched. Aren't there like 2 more?
Yeah,
But this movie came out in 2015. It stars Seth Rogen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Anthony Mackie, which is now Captain American Falcon.
Captain American Falcon. Very nice.
And it was released November 16th of 2015, and then at the New York Film Festival, I believe. Nope, just in New York City. That's cool. So New York got it 4 days before everybody else.
fuck you, New York,
No.
pretentious fucks.
Pretentious ding-dongs.
There you go. I was trying to think. I was trying to think of the Y2K.
And then it released everywhere else November 20th, 2015. The budget was anywhere between 25 to 33 million, and the box office it pulled in 52.4 million. So
That's good. Made its money back. That's
It did
good.
okay.
Did all right.
For like a holiday Christmas movie. At least
Yeah.
it made its budget back and made a little extra.
For an R-rated
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
Christmas movie,
shit,
it did
yeah.
all right.
Didn't think about that.
You see Wiener in this.
You
It's
do.
true, you do.
I think you see like a side tit.
You do. I have a note.
It's
You
whenever
guys didn't
like,
have a note for boobs? Oh, this will be fun.
yeah, fucking boob
When the
count.
fuck was there a side boob?
There was a whole boob. It was just in the background. It was like in the side of the frame.
Was that whenever they were at the strip club?
Yeah.
I didn't notice it.
In
Too busy taking notes.
the weed of Christmas yet to come.
Future.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, this is.
So that's pretty good. I'm glad a movie I like did well.
Yeah. You guys want to jump in straight into it?
Yeah.
Oh, would you recommend it?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like if this came out today, I would definitely be like, go see this movie.
I would too.
Yeah.
Like for a nice holiday with like
The boys.
age appropriate people. Go see this movie.
Yeah.
Don't bring kids.
Seth
but-
Rogen's in it. Clarence from 8 Mile in it.
Clarence.
Yeah.
And his parents have a real good marriage.
Well, in this movie, I think his
Yeah,
dad might be
I
dead.
Agreed.
They're divorced.
Well, there's three chairs at the table on Christmas at the end.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that his father was dead.
He might have left because I feel like if he would have died, she would have put up a shrine like she did for Chris.
Yeah, Chris isn't dead.
I feel like that shrine would have been right next to
Yeah,
him.
it's true.
It's true. Maybe
Like,
he left.
here's for my football playing son. Here's for my dead husband. But anyway, so let's jump on in
Movie starts.
with Tracy Morgan narrating.
Oh, see, I this is the first time I pulled a James and I wrote down the production companies.
Nice.
I put Sony, Columbia Pictures,
Point Grey.
Good Universe, and then Point Grey.
Because I know Point Grey is
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
Did you write
I
them
love
out?
how he said, pull to James, and those are my first four.
That's awesome.
It literally says Sony Columbia Pictures, Good Universe, Point Grey. Because there was just that one time, like, I feel like someone else did it first, and then I started doing it every time. I'm just saying.
Cause it was because did we do Late Night with the Devil for the podcast or
No.
No, but I remember we watched Late Night with the Devil. Me and Dylan laughed at how many there were.
It was like 7.
And ever since then, every movie we take notes for, he counts them.
Yeah.
But then I remember one time you literally went point by point of mentioning all of them for one movie. And then after
It
that,
might have been Violent Nature.
It might have been. I guess.
after that, I remember like you two specifically. One of you will always do it. At least one of you will.
Yeah. Well, people need to know.
Yeah.
Do they?
Fuck it. Tracy Morgan, narrator.
I put Tracy Morgan narrates the backstory to set the tone of the movie.
Yes, he does.
He does it very funnily too.
And
That's not
then-
a word, but he's funny with
I
it.
put Ethan's, and then parentheses, I put JGL, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I put shout out JGL.
I do love this man. He's a good looking
His
dude.
parents are dead.
I put Ethan in Orphan.
Yeah, I put Book Goes to Christmas 2001. Ethan is an orphan because his family died.
Ethan is Batman.
No, he's Robin. Which also, I mean, he's
Robin is also an
Yeah.
orphan.
so it kind of still works canonically.
So
And Isaac is Seth Rogen, and Chris is Anthony Mackie.
Yep.
they show up on Christmas Eve to get him out of his slump, so they go out.
Yeah.
Yep. And
The boys on Christmas.
I wanted to mention that Isaac, Seth Rogen, said Ricky Martin slays ass. And I put, Ricky Martin does indeed slay ass, just not the ass you're thinking of.
Well, they talk about how like Christmas is about friends now, and then it's just like a little montage of them doing Christmas shit. Like they steal a reindeer.
Yep.
Chris steals a reindeer one time,
They go drinking.
and he gets Isaac gets a coffee mug that says "World's Smallest Cock."
You knew.
And he's like, you knew. And then they do
love
the iPod. Chris gives Ethan an iPod, and he's like, can't hold like 100 songs at once. I got the new Dave Matthews. And then that's when they say Ricky Martin slays ass.
Yeah.
And then drink and fuck shit up. Hell yeah, fuck that snowman. Oh, because they bust up a snowman, I guess.
Yeah. And
The Creator by Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
yeah, I
is
love
in the
that. I love that
background.
song, dude. This movie is why I put that song on my playlist. Back
Yeah,
in the day.
it's on my Christmas playlist.
Yes. Yep.
And then in the montage, they find out it's like in 2008, and they're all at the bar drinking, and people come into the bar,
And they look like they've had a hell of a time.
and they're having a good time, and they ask them.
Where were you partying early on this evening?
Yeah, and they tell them about the Nutcracker Ball,
Yep.
which becomes like
Their
the
mission.
MacGuffin.
the MacGuffin of this movie.
And I put in my notes that I really wanted his Wu-Tang Christmas sweater because it was fucking
Oh,
cool.
I actually, the sweater that Seth Rogen wears in this movie, I have. I
Yeah,
own.
I have a note about it.
If we were to film it, I would have totally worn it for this.
So they all start going and searching for the Nutcracker Ball, and it's like their whole thing, because they say that it like becomes like their thing
Yeah.
on Christmas. Like they try to
They
find.
try to
this
find
bar.
where the New
Yeah,
Year's
yeah.
ball is happening.
But they can never find it. And then
Another thing about the sweater, I do wear it to my wife's family's Christmas dinner.
How they like that?
They always say, "Oh, I like your sweater."
That's good.
Every year.
and then it says the fun way, and then like it kind of jumps through time again.
Just kind of like them trying to look for it, and then it's this Christmas this year.
Well, he also talks about how the fun wanes because one friend gets famous and the other has a family.
As a kid, yeah.
But then it says, but Ethan is stuck, and then it cuts to this Christmas where Ethan is an elf. Like, is that like a temp job? I guess.
Yeah,
he has?
he's like a food. What do they call it? Caterer.
He's
Yeah. I put hostess because I didn't really know.
For like a catering company where he like holds the tray for people to.
And then he runs into John Krasinski.
I put Jim Halpert as a dick to elves.
Yeah, I put Jim says he can't make his decision because he is a shit elf.
And then I put Randall Park just in case people don't.
Yeah,
know
doesn't know our Jim Halpert joke. Yeah. And he's like, you don't even know how to be an elf. He's like, give me the elf face.
Yeah, he says you have to be happy and eager and whimsical, also determined. And then I put equals elf face.
I don't know when it's gonna see this, but give me your best elf face. That one's creepy.
Yeah, he's got a weird one.
I like the way he looks up. He's like,
yeah,
whimsically.
that's whimsical. Yeah, that's whimsical as fuck.
Yeah, that'll put Ethan sucks at his job and gets moved to coat hanging duty.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah. I just put coat check, but yeah.
And then there's like a dude, and he's like, "That's an expensive coat."
Yeah, he's a fucking prick.
Yeah, he's like a dick about it. He's like, take care of my coat. It's an expensive coat.
And then he just throws it on the fucking floor. He's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah. Well, he goes to hang it up, and he sees the 3 tickets to the Nutcracker
I don't think
Ball.
he saw the tickets. They threw it on the ground.
I think he throws it on the ground.
I think he threw it on the ground to piss him off.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure, right?
I thought he saw the tickets.
I thought he threw it on the ground because then that's when he's like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
I thought I saw those tickets threw
I
on
don't
the
know.
ground.
It could be either way, but I in my head canon, it's funnier to be like him, be like, "Oh, take care of that coat." Be like, "Fuck." But anyway, but then he realizes that this motherfucker has 3 tickets to the Nutcracker Ball,
Which is exactly the amount he needs.
Exactly, and it's a Christmas fucking miracle.
What are the odds that he has 3
for plot development?
plot devices?
Almost as if a certain weed dealer might have put him there.
Oh, we'll get to that.
Foreshadowing. Sorry, I really love this movie.
It's okay.
In my notes, I put Nutcracker Ball tickets secured.
And then I put,
I love you.
I love you more.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
I love you.
And then he runs out of the job and down the street.
Into a title car.
Yeah, I said so. Bro takes him because fuck that guy and his coat. Ethan says he is sick, so
He's like, I'm sick. I gotta go.
He leaves his job with the tickets, title card, and then it's a panning New York City shot.
Yeah.
And then it shows Ethan calling the number on the card, and he finds out the location.
We'll give you the location at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock.
Yep.
And then it's like a little bit of like Ethan's life because it shows him like playing guitar.
Yep.
And he looks at pictures of a girl who you find out later is named Diana.
Yep, he's doing a little bit of drinking.
A little bit of drinking.
Not a good mix.
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
That's true.
then-
That's how you end up pulling a James.
Hey, man. Have I gotten drunk on Christmas? Yes. And then
we
it shows
see Anthony Mackie putting a needle in his butt while he talks to his mom on the phone and he lies and says he's not in town, but he is.
I said Chris is Captain Falcon and he is shooting up steroids.
Hey, man, Captain America does what it takes to get the fucking job done. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
Hey, he's not Steve Rogers.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not.
I put stabbing some roids up his butt.
I like that.
And then
we cut to Isaac, who's...
yeah, you also find out in that little scene, I'm sorry,
No, you're good.
he's a famous football player.
Yeah, he's now
Which,
famous.
I mean, they allude to, because it shows him walk out of his building and he's like signing autographs and shit.
Yeah.
Because that's when he says, "Oh, and some friends get famous, friends have families."
Yeah. And then it cuts to Seth Rogen,
Who's at
or Isaac. who
like
is
an
Seth
in-laws party? For
Yeah.
Christmas?
It's like his wife's family's
Yeah,
Christmas
I think it's his
party.
wife's sister.
Yeah, because it's like the weird little kids.
Yeah, because it's her daughter.
Because they're asking him like why he looks funny, and he
he's-
says he's Jewish, or they say he looks funny because he is Jewish. I really can't remember.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Y'all, I look funny." He said,
Have you seen The Shining?
Because it's 2 twin blonde girls. Like,
Yeah.
I put the Grady twins hate Jewish people for some reason.
and then like their mom, like his sister-in-law, comes around the corner and she's like, "What are you talking to them about?" And he makes up some bullshit about how you have to talk to kids like they're adults. To open
I'm
up
pretty
their
sure that is
mind.
like scientifically proven.
I mean, it
but
probably is
But he was
true.
definitely just trying to cover his own ass.
Yeah.
He's like, if you talk to them like they're adults, they respond well. Because I think it's also supposed to give the fact like he's been reading all the child development
True,
books
for sure.
for his wife Betsy, who comes around the corner and is pregnant.
His wife is very pregnant.
Played by Jillian Bell.
And she like goes up to one of what does she do to the little girl? It makes her scream. Remember? Like she said,
I think she like fucks with her hair or something.
she fucks her hair and he tries to give him a hug and she's like no, and then she goes up to Isaac and she says, "I am such a fucking piece of shit."
Kind of like supposed to give us like doubts, like give us an idea that like she has doubts about being
being
a
a
mother.
mom. Yeah, it's a little good plot device. I think they do a lot of stuff like that very good. in this
Yeah,
movie.
Agreed.
You know,
And then like Ethan walks in and he was like, "Oh, you look big."
He's like, that's not what you say to a pregnant
you
woman.
look so big, Ethan.
He doesn't know how to talk to pregnant women. And then he tries to get Isaac to drink, and Isaac says he's not going to drink yet.
He's on call because he's
He's like a lawyer or whatever.
Well, he is, but he's on call in case something goes wrong with the baby.
Oh, yeah.
Or for his, he's trying to be good for his wife basically.
And he's like, but you're going to drink tonight, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to drink tonight.
Sure. Which probably, if he doesn't get his box of drugs later, I don't think he probably would have. He probably would have been kind of a bitch about it.
And then
it's almost like he needs permission from Betsy to.
Yeah.
It's not like other movies where she's whipping him or anything, but you can definitely tell he's trying to hold it together for her, which is nice. I like that.
For sure.
They have a really good relationship.
And Ethan is already kind of drunk.
Yeah. Isaac's like, yeah, no, I can tell.
I've been that friend plenty of times.
Yes, actually.
And then Chris shows up.
It compliments her correctly.
And he knows how to talk to pregnant
I couldn't even tell you were pregnant. He said, that's how you're supposed to talk to
He said,
pregnant
I couldn't even tell you're pregnant until I saw you from the side. And then they ask Chris about they talk to Chris about how he's been having a really good season.
Yep.
And he says this new workouts, and he's on a paleo diet.
He's on a new regimen.
And then he says, if you see me naked, it would blow your mind. And Isaac says, I would love to.
Somewhere in here, we get a little bit of dialogue about Diana, who's Ethan's ex, because he asks Betsy, because they work together, about her, and Betsy does not say that she's been asking about him.
Well, also they say
I just wanted to point it out because that's when they first mentioned Diana.
Nah, you're good. It shows him with the kids.
Because he's playing the piano.
He starts playing piano with
Which
him.
shows off that he does music.
And then this is Chris and Isaac. This is where they talk about how, and Chris says that he's going to help get him out of his rut.
Yep.
And he's going
it's
balls
the last
and
Christmas.
all.
Yeah.
And then they go to leave, and that's whenever he says, tell Diana I said hello.
And she's like, I won't.
And she says, yeah, no.
Go ahead.
They're saying it's the last year because they're like the kids that won't stop trick-or-treating.
Yeah. Which is pretty. It kind of reminds me of Monster House.
Yeah.
Because I put Isaac and Chris are done with partying for Christmas. It's like the last year, basically.
Then,
They've all collectively agreed this would be the last year.
Yeah, I guess they all talked about it before.
Yeah.
And then
before they leave, Betsy gives Isaac a little box full of every drug in the world. And then I wrote a quote. I was like, I haven't done cocaine in 11 years. And she's like, I don't think anyone has.
I put nobody has done coke in 11 years. And then she also tells him that he is her rock. He is her Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson.
And then do you think she gave him meth and heroin too?
I don't know.
She said every drug in the world.
Yeah, but
those are hard.
They're hard.
That's
hard.
It might have just been party drugs.
Because
I know he takes Molly later. There's cocaine, weed.
I mean, cocaine's a pretty hard drug.
True.
But it is like a party drug.
He does make a joke about how she doesn't know the increments of the correct drug, so all the proportions are off later on.
Because that joint he puts out later is fucking tiny.
It's tiny,
shit,
yeah. But she
later.
got all of her drugs off of Craigslist too.
Craigslist, yeah. I just typed in drugs. I typed in new NY drugs.
Yeah, NYC drugs.
To be fair, that probably does seem like a good place to get drugs from.
Probably,
yeah, probably is.
Doubt it.
And then they go outside, and there's a giant Red Bull limo. Red Bull stretch Hummer.
Yeah, and then
he says that he is the face. Chris is the face and body of Red Bull now.
Yep.
And then Nathan Fielder is the limo driver.
Yeah, bro. He's single-handedly one of my most funny characters in this movie. My favorite moment of the movie comes later on with him, and it's fucking hilarious. It's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Because it's fucking hilarious, dude.
Do you guys like Red Bull?
Not really.
I'm not a big
I like
fan.
the flavor ones. Like they have one in the summer. It's really good. It's like watermelon's pretty good. The blue one's really good because I like it.
I don't really like Red Bull.
I'm more of a Monster guy. I like I really like the flavors of the sugar-free Monsters.
Yeah, I like.
C4s aren't bad either.
I just had one of those earlier. Pretty good.
Celsius.
Yeah, Celsius
but
are
the
good.
big ones.
Celsius is really
not
good.
the.
I like the flavored ones.
Yeah, I don't like the. There's the sparkling water ones.
Those
suck dick.
Yeah.
I had a couple of those, and then they released the big cans that are just normal energy drinks. Those are really good, and I also like the Ghost ones.
Ghost is good too.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get in the limo, and Chris
jumps on Insta Live.
Yeah, and he's plugging his Sony phone that he
that's
has.
like fucking ginormous in his fucking hand. It's crazy.
And then a Red Bull.
Remember when Sony made phones? Yeah, me neither.
Me neither. And then he says, "What happened to peace? Peace.
Peace.
This is what he says.
He
says, "What happened to peace?" And then he goes, "Peace." All right, sorry.
It's just not one of the things I remember.
I just took notes, man. Watching the goddamn movie.
And then it pans them walking down the street, and Ethan says he's working on a concept album, and then one of them says the concept is that no one's ever going to hear it.
Yeah, he's making a concept album, but he doesn't have a concept.
Yet.
And then it also shows
Yeah.
Chris get stopped for a picture. People love C-Rock.
C-Rock.
C-Rock. He calls himself C-Rock.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
But I mean, it just shows like how he's getting famous or whatever. They do that some more. They talk about Diana a little bit, and Ethan doesn't talk to Diana.
They go to the tree.
Oh, well,
and
they get and that's when they pull out the sweaters.
They pull out the sweaters,
And I
and they
hate it.
talk about how like JGL, fucking Ethan has like that little speech
Yeah,
about
he says 14 years ago to this very day.
Yeah.
We came
We
here,
came here.
started a
and-
tradition.
Yeah, and we mutually agreed to end it
End
this
it
year
this
because
year.
Isaac is having a kid and Chris is fucking
Chris is
famous.
too fucking famous to hang out.
and then he shows them the tickets
Yeah.
for the Nutcracker Ball.
I put boys are hype.
Because he's like, where'd you get these tickets? He's like, did you steal them? I was like, yeah, I fucking stole them. I fucking
like,
stole
"I
them.
fucking stole 'em."
And they're like, fuck yeah.
And then this is where he gives them the sweaters.
And then in my notes I put sweater. Shout out to D-Nail.
Yeah. But it's going to be the new Christmas tradition, and then there's an awkward silence.
He's like, I'm just kidding. He's like, obviously I'm kidding.
It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not, buddy.
No, you need this. Clearly.
And then they go to what do they call it? What's that store called?
I can't remember the name of the store, but I know it's the store from Big with the piano
Yeah.
from Big.
That's my exact notes.
Yep.
They go to the piano floor from Big,
Yeah.
but Tom Hanks.
I know it's a big fucking store that everyone shops in New York, but I can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember what it's called
But
either.
yeah.
But they go there and they play Runaway,
Runaway.
By Kanye,
by Kanye West.
I asked the question in my notes of like, does this mean that Runaway is officially a Christmas song because it's in a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Yes.
It's on my Christmas playlist.
It's just like I know I'm controversial, but I claim Die Hard's a Christmas movie. Runaway can be a Christmas song.
Y'all ever cried to that song?
Yes.
Oh, a lot.
Hell yeah.
actually.
Hell yeah.
After whenever I watched this movie, a little later, I went into my bedroom and I made Google play it and I danced to it in my
yeah.
bedroom.
I love the little dance.
Nobody
Chris,
was home.
I love the little dance Chris does with the little microphone. He's like, "Look
Yeah.
at you, look at you."
I know,
He's
it's
like,
awesome.
the way he waves his hands is fucking hilarious. And then when they say douchebag and asshole, some guy covers his kid's ears.
Yeah.
like he's rocking to it till he says it. He's like, "Oh no."
And then while the song plays, they have like a little montage of them going to the Chinese restaurant they always go to.
Yep.
And they walk by some rabbis.
He shows off his
And he
sweater.
shows off
Yeah.
his sweater, bro. That's just funny. And then whenever they all sit down, they say it's not Christmas until we eat egg drop soup. And then Chris is kind of a douche, I think, at least early in the movie, because this is where he calls Tommy Owens.
Yeah.
And he's like showing off how cool he is to go to the party.
I mean, he's definitely like a dick, but like
He's not a dick to his friends,
No.
but I think at the same time he's trying to like show off to them how famous he is.
agreed.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's definitely peacocking a little bit.
So my question is like, do they just like not really talk?
Maybe.
Because like that's kind of how it seems, you know. Like it seems like they don't really talk that much outside of like whenever, because like it's like they haven't seen each other in a while, you know. Like do they just not hang out except for on Christmas now?
'Cause I was thinking about that too, because when he's
'Cause
talking about
it
how he
seems-
plays football, like he's too famous to hang out with them. I'm like, yeah, I guess there's a lot of the times they wouldn't see each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
at least they wouldn't see him.
Yeah,
yeah.
because I guess he's not playing the Christmas games, but
Yeah.
in 2015 they didn't do Christmas games yet.
That's
so
true.
They also don't tell us what team he plays for.
Yeah. True.
They don't.
So he could
play for the Canadian League, probably.
yeah.
You know.
Does he play for the Giants, the Jets, or maybe he plays for the Eagles? Because he talks about being in Philadelphia.
True.
You
Could
know?
be the Eagles then, yeah.
But anyway, he calls that famous football player Tommy Owens.
Yep.
And then Tommy asks him to bring some weed.
He's like, I can get some weed. Look at me. He's looking at me. I can get some weed.
I'm Chris Money. He calls himself Chris Money too.
Yeah. C-Rock. Yeah. God, he is kind of a dick.
Yeah, dude, he's a dick.
C-Rock, C-Money.
Yeah,
Fuck this
dude.
guy.
Like, that's what I'm saying. By the end, I like him. And I mean, I don't dislike him ever, really.
No.
But, you know, he's
And
kind
then
of
later
a
on with the
douche.
chick from Broad City is kind of like, yeah, no, I kind of he's just fucking bitches in the bathroom, and I was like, oh, this guy is kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's kind of a douche.
Shit. Lies to his mom.
And then he's like,
kind of a dick.
He's like, Isaac, how much weed do you have? And he's like, you know, I got the weed,
I
Snoop
got-
Deal, Double G.
I got the reefers.
I got the reefers.
He pulls out one fucking
It's a
joint.
tiny little joint, bro.
Yeah, that's literally my note. It's just in quotations. I got the reefers because the way he says it's fucking hilarious.
And then Ethan was like, I guess we can call Mr. Green, which is Michael Shannon.
Yep.
Yeah, well, they also, like, Ethan starts trying to make the point where it's like, it's about the three of them, not the famous athlete.
Yeah, he's like, you don't need fucking weed for them. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, because
Like,
Chris starts like, oh, we gotta get weed now, oh my god.
He's like, why the fuck do we need weed all of a sudden?
And then he says, no, it is about the famous athlete. And then they decide to call Mr. Green. And then it cuts to them standing outside of their high school
Yep.
because Mr. Green won't meet you unless it's somewhere he's met you before.
Which doesn't make sense because how the fuck would he deal with you the first time?
Exactly, unless you just like stumble upon him.
Yeah.
You know?
He'd be like, oh shit, you sell weed? Can I get some? And then he'd be like, alright, cool.
And then all of a sudden there's a payphone.
Yeah, and then they all agree that Chris has to go get the weed, and then he gets in the car,
It's your fucking weed, man.
and he's like, oh, it's a good thing you're open on Christmas. He's like, a lot of people need me on Christmas.
It's a tough holiday. Yeah. And he's right, it is. It is a tough
And
holiday.
it was like, it's good to see you kids still hanging out and smoking up. Makes me proud.
Yeah. And then while that's happening, while he's walking over too, we kind of come back to Ethan and Isaac having the same talk that Isaac and Chris had earlier, where they're like, he's kind of a dick, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
He's getting a little too big for his britches. And he's like, we should talk to him about that. I think it's funny that, like, when one of the three go away, they kind of shit talk a little bit. It's kind of like very, very friend group-esque.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's kind of like, I mean, there's always things,
Yeah.
There's always things.
Especially with a fucking famous ass motherfucker.
Yeah,
It's kind of
for
a
sure.
dick. Or a guy who fucking dumps his girlfriend and then makes it your problem.
Oh,
That's
God.
not a dig. I'm just saying, like, that's what happened in the movie.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, well,
I normally
she
get
leaves
dumped.
him. She leaves him.
Yeah.
True.
And he makes
But he fucked it up, to be fair.
Yeah, he's what needed. He just wouldn't meet her parents. And then he's like, "This is the weed of Christmas present." And he's like, "I'm not gonna try it." He's like, "You're buying weed for somebody and
You're not
not
gonna
gonna even
test
test
it?
it."
What if I'm selling you oregano?
And then I think he says oregano. He's like, it'll be oregano. I think it's funny. He's like, by that logic, wouldn't all weed be the weed of Christmas present?
Yes. And he says, only if it's on Christmas.
Michael Shannon's not wrong either.
They both have good points.
Yeah.
And then he smokes the weed, and the bell chimes.
Oh yeah, because he's talking about when we talk about the buying it for someone else, he's like, well, this is for Tommy Owens, the Messiah, and he's like,
yeah.
oh, there's only one
one
Messiah,
Messiah.
our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and I just put in my notes, you can play with God,
He says it's blasphemous to me.
which is funny because you find out later he's an angel.
Yep.
And he's like, "Tell Isaac I'll see him in a couple of hours."
Yep, I put Isaac foreshadowing. Which
He also...
I always thought that was cool, like he foreshadowed that.
He also invites them
To
to
a party later. He's like, oh, yeah, we already got invited to something else, but thanks, though. And that comes back later, too.
He says...
my note is only party foreshadowing and then Isaac foreshadowing.
And it says, that's no problem. My feelings aren't hurt. Not really.
Not
That's
really.
what Mr. Green says.
Because I feel like he knows that they already have the tickets.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't want to let on, but at the same time, he knows that they're going to be there regardless.
And then he says, tell Isaac I'll see him in a couple hours. And then they're talking about, like, how did he get so good all of a sudden?
Yeah.
Like, one of them says that because
Yep.
they're talking about Chris still. Ethan and Isaac are still talking about him.
And then
The weed is secured.
The weed secured.
because Chris says that was the weirdest experience in my life.
He's like, I'm never getting in that dude's car again.
And then it's time for karaoke. And
Run
they do the Run
DMC.
DMC song.
Yeah,
Christmas time in Hollis, Queens.
Christmas in Hollis. By
Yeah,
Run DMC.
great fucking song. It's
And then
also on my Christmas playlist.
Diana is there.
Yeah, and that's also when Isaac Shroom's kicking.
Yeah, the shrooms. My next note is shrooms are kicking in.
And apparently they call themselves the Ice Crew.
Yeah.
And then whenever they get done, like, all the people crowd Chris.
Yep. And then he takes him outside because he's being. I put in my notes. Chris is being a good wingman, trying to get Ethan and Diana alone together.
Yes, he is. And then you find out that Diana really likes the song Wrecking Ball.
Yep.
And she did it on karaoke earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I put in my notes because like I've seen this movie before, but it's obvious after a rewatch you can tell too. I put Diana as totally stalking Ethan because like she's like, oh no, I didn't know you were gonna be here, and I was like, clearly you did.
Yeah, you did, though.
like clearly you did.
They said they dated for a couple years, so he
Yeah.
would have done that Christmas tradition a couple times.
Yeah,
with
so
her.
and then because later it's confirmed that she did know he was going to be there. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's their thing. They do it every year.
I didn't write down her actress's name, but I did put,
Lizzie Kaplan.
and then Mindy Kaling is her friend.
Yeah,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Yeah.
Her name is Sarah.
And then they're talking, and then Isaac Shrooms kick in real hard.
He's
And
like, I put Isaac is peeking for real, for real.
yeah, and he's like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom."
But yeah, so Isaac goes into the bathroom to do some more cocaine because he thinks that'll mellow him out.
Yeah, well,
What an idiot.
he tells him he's gonna go in there and call Betsy.
Yeah.
Do some coke in the
He
bathroom.
says, "Get in my brain, make me feel different."
I totally get it.
And then he makes a video while he's like,
I put in my notes. Isaac gives future Isaac a message about killing his unborn baby.
"Kill this."
We're gonna kill this little cunt.
Oh, but before
Calls his baby a
that,
cunt.
before he does all that, this is whenever.
The Broad City girl shows up.
Yeah, because it shows Chris outside. He calls Tommy Owens
So
again,
I got the weed.
but he doesn't answer, so he's leaving a fucking
Yeah.
voicemail.
He's like, what up? What up?
And then the random fan comes up and starts talking to him. She hates Christmas, but she starts macking on him, talking about how great he is.
Yeah, like,
Yep.
oh, you're like awesome.
And then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm jizzing all over you. I'm getting real jizzy right now." And he's like, "Oh no, I love that shit. Keep jizzing."
Keep digging. I
I'm
like
like,
it.
"What?"
So hold up.
And then she's like, "You're a naughty boy." And I just wrote, "They gonna fuck."
Yeah, they
And
are.
then here in a couple scenes,
They
are
fuck.
fucking. Yeah. And then it's Isaac in the bathroom videotaping himself, geeking out about his kid.
And then he snorts the rest of the cocaine.
He says he's gonna ruin the baby's life and he's gonna kill people. He says we should just push it down the river. Fuck you, baby. Fuck you, cunt. And then he does all the coke. And then he says, "Let's party," and he leaves.
And then while Ethan and Diana are talking to each other, you find out that Diana is also going to the Nutcracker Ball.
Yeah. you find out she's going to the ball. And then he also asks her about her family, and she's like, oh, that's weird that you're going to ask about my family now. And then whenever they're talking about the Nutcracker party, he asks if she's taking anyone with her.
Yeah.
And she says 2 dudes with
a
massive
cock.
dicks.
And he's like, yeah, I'm taking 2 girls with 2 huge
He
vaginas.
says, I'm taking girls with big vaginas.
And then it's one of my favorite parts too, because she's like, oh yeah, I have a big vagina. He's like, yeah, it's very big. Whoopity whoopity.
Yeah, whoopity whoopity whoopity.
It's just a funny noise.
And then it like hard cuts to Isaac getting drinks for him and Sarah. Because after he came out of the bathroom, he talks to Sarah.
He's like, yeah, he's and then
Because she says he's talking really fast and he starts screaming,
Yeah.
sold!
Oh, it's scary.
he's like, do you want to drink? He's like, do you want to drink? I found it weird that she agreed, because I would have been like, you can get away from me now.
Yeah, you're being
But
kind of
she's
weird,
like, yeah, sure,
bro.
I'll take a drink. And I was like, okay.
But he gets drinks for him, and he accidentally nosebleeds into her drink.
Yep.
And she starts drinking it. And she's like, oh, is this what you ordered?
She's like, it tastes like nickels.
It's a crantini.
Is this a crantini? It tastes irony.
And then it tastes like pennies. And then he's like, I wonder. You ever wonder if they're all part of the same teeny family? Crantini, apple teeny, vodka teeny. And you can tell he's like still peeking.
And she's like, hey, your nose is bleeding. And she's like, oh, did you bleed in my fucking drink?
Because he admits that he was doing cocaine.
Yeah, could you cocaine blood in my drink?
Yeah.
That's really
And then
gross.
she
You should not be a father.
She says, you're a totally fucked up person. You should not be a father. And then storms away. Well, she starts crying and goes to the bathroom, I think.
Yeah, and then that's when we see her grab a phone that later on we find out it's not her phone.
It's not her phone.
It's Isaac's phone.
But when she goes to the bathroom, she goes and knocks on the door. And Chris is in there fucking that
Chris is getting stanky on his hang.
He's getting stanky on his hang down, yes sir.
And then I also have I have a little bit of a rant because she's like, "Did you bleed cocaine in my blood?" He's like, "Oh no, it's fine. Did you drink a lot of it?" She says, "Yeah, I did." And I was like, "You took one fucking sip." Like, I get it, but at the same time, she's like freaking out. She's like, "Yeah, I drank most of it." And I'm like, "No, you fucking didn't. You took like one sip."
I feel like if I drank any amount of someone's cocaine blood, I'd be pretty upset.
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying, like, she needs to chill the fuck out. It wasn't that bad. She didn't even realize it happened until like 2 minutes later when they were talking. Like, oh shit, that's cocaine blood. Just saying.
That's true. And then like that scene of him getting stanky on his hang down is
Like, oh,
yeah, it's a bit much.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro.
Yeah, because she's like fucking him, and she's like not taking shit. And he's like, what?
Yeah, she's
The
like,
face he makes, he's like,
she's like riding his dick from the back while he's sitting on a toilet, and she tells him to take a dump.
and I was
He's
like,
"Whoa."
his face is like, what the fuck?
Hey man,
But he comes out with a smile on his face, so he must have enjoyed it.
But did he? Did he take a dump?
We'll never know.
I guess we'll never know.
I feel like I would have feared him. I would have been like,
Just like a small little.
I'd be very scared I finished too. Like, oh god, that'd be a weird feeling.
Shit and cum at the same time.
That's our Captain America, by the way.
You're not Steve Rogers. You know what? I'm not.
Steve Rogers would never get.
He totally would have already been Falcon too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fucking Steve Rogers would never get hang down in a bathroom stall.
While taking a shit.
Well, and then Sarah comes running up to Diana, and they leave.
She's like, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Our new Captain America fucks.
Hard. Can't say that about fucking Chris Evans.
Nah. And then Diana is under the mistletoe, and Ethan tries to.
This is so sad because he's like, oh hey, mistletoe, and she's like, no.
She's like, come on, man.
Come
She says,
on,
come
man.
on. And then she just leaves, and it's like, damn. And then Chris comes out of the bathroom, and he goes up to Ethan, and he says, hey, man, I just fame fucked that hipster chick. And she's, like, eating, like, chicken and, like, throwing it back into, like, there's, like, a little buffet set up or something.
And I was like, wow, real classy.
She, like, bites off of it and throws it back in. It's like, what the fuck?
Because I think this was, like, right when Broad City's taken off on Comedy Central as
Yeah,
well. So, like, she was pretty known for, like, her comedy shit like that.
Yeah.
For,
I have
like-
no idea what that is.
Really?
No.
It was a show on Comedy Central
Yeah.
that kind of took off while
They-
Workaholics was ending.
Yeah, because they threw it on like right after.
Yeah, when the new episodes of Workaholics would come out, it would come out like right after.
Yeah, so people would like bridge into it. Maybe.
Yeah. It was funny
watched,
occasionally.
like-
I just didn't watch it like all the way through.
I watched like the first couple episodes. I remember Hannibal Buress being in some of it.
It was funny for sure, and she is funny. Like even in this movie, I think it's really funny.
And they go and get back in the stretch Hummer because they go to leave.
And it's because it's 10 o'clock now, so they can call the number.
Yep.
Red Bull limo.
And they
Bull
find
limo.
out.
It's a Grandin Berry.
Yep. And then this is when Ethan tells the guys that Diana's going to the party.
And the limo driver was like, "Oh, my mom's name is Diana."
I put that down because it's funny.
The limo driver's name is Josh.
Josh,
I never wrote down.
I never did. He's just Nathan Fielder to me. Everything he plays in, he's just Nathan Fielder to me. He's one of those things where like it's dynamic what he does, but like at the same time, he's just always Nathan Fielder.
Yeah.
And then they talk about how Ethan didn't want to meet her
the
parents. And this is whenever you see that Isaac is like super fucked up.
tweaking out.
Yeah.
And
And then the limo driver was like, "You should calm down. You should drink a Red Bull."
Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna eat more mushrooms.
He's like, don't do that.
And then he's like making all those weird faces because he's talking about how like, he doesn't want him.
Do I look
geeking
weird
out.
now? He's like, you look weirder.
He's like, doesn't want him geeking out in front of all the famous people.
Yeah.
And he says, "Cool as fuck, G."
And he's like, you need to check your. He's like, check myself before I redirect myself.
Yeah, before I wreck made Isaac feel bad because and like Ethan like starts to stand up for him a little bit, and they're like, "Hey man, just have some weed and mellow out." And then Chris goes to grab the weed,
and,
the weed was stolen by the hipster chick.
The way he says it too is funny because he switches on dime. He's like laughing, and then he's like, "That bitch stole my fucking weed."
Yeah, he says, "I saw her rummaging through my coat while I was hitting it from the back." And then it cuts abruptly again, and they're standing outside of his mom's house.
Yeah,
because they need more weed again for Mr. Green.
And his mom lives closer than
I like
high
that
school.
foreshadowing earlier where he's like, the only two places were Chris's mom's house and the high school. So like it's funny like now they have to go back to there instead of the high school.
And then he doesn't want to see his mom. You find out that Chris doesn't want to see his mom because he lied.
Yeah, because if it wasn't like if you didn't catch it earlier, it also points out again that like he made sure to tell her
that he was
not in town because he didn't want to go to church and shit, and he felt weird because he almost felt like his mom was parading him around.
Yeah, but he does it to himself.
Exactly. It's
like what?
It's like when someone wants him to do it. It's not a fucking.
Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess I kind of understand. It's like whenever you're singing by yourself and then someone asks you to do it, and you're like, nah.
But it's like,
yeah,
still double standards.
But it's your mom's.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Anyway.
And then Ethan's like, oh, you just don't want to get your ass kicked in Goldeneye upstairs.
Yeah, he says, your mom still got an N64?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, she never throws my stuff away. And he's like, oh, you just don't want to get your ass kicked in Goldeneye. And then that immediately gets Chris to go inside. He's like, all right, fuck you. And they go inside, and
you find out, like, his mom has a shrine to Chris.
And then Ethan says, dude, did you die and not tell us?
That's one of my favorite lines.
And then it's them in his bedroom.
They're playing Goldeneye. And then they're just talking, Isaac's looking through the yearbook of back in the day.
Yep.
And he's just like, oh, I remember this, remember that. And then he's like,
Ethan
that was my warlock phase. And I was like, bro, I want a warlock phase.
Ethan was voted most likely to be the next Eddie Vedder.
Yeah, which, man.
So weird.
Wasted potential.
Yeah.
It's like another thing to be like, damn, you're kind of fucking up right now.
And then they talk about how they met, and they met at someone named Jocelyn LaRue's party.
Yep.
And they all hid in the bathroom together. And Isaac was a fake stoner.
And he's like, I just wore tie dye and
liked Bob Marley.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was the vibe I was putting out there.
And then you find out that Ethan was a warlock. He had purple hair and a cloak.
I was like, bro, that sounds sick as
That's
fuck, dude.
fucking wild. And then Chris was a jock, obviously.
Yeah.
And they were like all surprised
that he would hang out with them.
And he says that the only reason why he made it through that place was because of them.
Because they helped him out, yeah. It's just a really nice, like, kind of how they met bonding moment, which is cool.
And then they're playing the game still, and then the phone starts going
calls.
off because Mr. Green calls, and Isaac's like, all right, I'll go down there.
I'll get it.
And then they're like, can you even walk? And he says, I can fly.
I literally that's my next note is in quotations, I can fly.
And then he's downstairs walking to the car.
And then the second he gets in, he was like, oh, it's the fuzz. He's like, are you fucking serious?
He's like, 5-0, put your hands up. Oh, fuck. He's like, relax, I'm kidding.
And then he says Mr. Green is proud of him being a husband, lawyer, and soon-to-be father.
Yeah, like, how do you know all this shit, dude?
And then he's like, you ever think of me as a father figure?
He shakes his head, no. And then he's telling him how he did too many caps. And there's definitely nothing wrong with his emotional state.
Because he's like, yeah, he's like, I got something for you. It's nice. What you need is a nice indica, but like, not if you go ahead.
He also, Mr. Green just says he looks right into Isaac's soul.
Yeah, he does.
He's
and he was just like, because I wrote the full quote.
Yeah.
But tells him he needs a nice mellow indica. It says he has a nice North Cali bud with a soothing body high and surprisingly accurate visions of the future.
That's like, he's like, whoa. He's like, unless there's something. He's like, it should level you right out. Unless there's some life decisions you're on the fence about. He's like, oh no, that's not me. I'm good. Yeah. But before he did that, he takes a toke of it. I thought it was cool because Mr. Green had the joint, and then he goes for the pipe, and then he smokes both of them at the same time.
I put Mr. Green double smoking a joint and bowl is fire. So
Mr. Green's 2 weeds at once toke was sick.
Yep. And then he like goes to hand him the weed, and he says, I put my hands on you. Take it. It's like, what? And then Isaac hits the bowl, and they teleport 18 years into the future. And they're in like some seedy strip joint, and Betsy is there. Yeah. And Mr. Green's like, I'm going to go get a beer and maybe a dance.
He says it's funny. He's like, I'll be back.
He says, I'm going to get a beer.
Maybe a dance.
Maybe a dance. And then he goes up
Michael Shannon is so underrated, dude. Like
Dude,
in this role specifically, because he's a great dramatic actor, but he can do comedy so
Yeah,
fucking
he can.
well. It's crazy.
He has really good delivery.
Agreed.
And then they go up, or Isaac goes up to the stage and sits with Betsy, and then a stripper comes out, and her name is Sierra, and it's their daughter.
Yeah.
She is a stripper.
He's like, no, that's not my daughter. And then while she's stripping, she like Betsy's like cheering her on, and then she's like, you pop your pussy for mama.
Yeah, she says, she says, you hear me, young lady? Pop your pussy.
It's the funniest fuck. Jillian Bell also has she's really good comedically too.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like her delivery is fucking great too.
She's like one of my favorite side characters from Workaholics.
Yeah, because she's really funny in 22 Jump Street too. Like
Yeah.
she's like her delivery is really good.
But you find out that Isaac, like, he wrote all those books and didn't learn a thing, and he was a bad dad, so his daughter is a stripper.
Yeah, and then this is where the boobs were. There were boobs in the background. of the
Boobs?
strippers. Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't believe
While
I
her
missed out
daughter,
on
while the
boobs
daughter was
now.
on stage behind them, they were strippers next to the boobs out. I was like, bro, I literally put high five for boobs, and you guys didn't even notice.
I'll say
Yeah.
boobs! Whee! Boobs!
So he's like freaking out because of the future, the surprisingly accurate vision of the future.
He panicked and
then Mr. Green's like,
the car.
Mr. Green's like, give me $100. Hey, he's looking at me. Give me $100 to get the fuck out of my car. he like throws the money. He's like, ah! He throws the fuck away. It's hilarious.
And then he goes back inside, and Britney Spears starts playing really loud
On the
Isaac's
phone.
phone, and
It wakes Chris's mom up.
yeah, wakes up the mom of Chris. That's how I wrote it. I don't know why I wrote
I just
it like
put
that.
Isaac is loud and Chris's mom wakes up.
It's funny because the viewers at home can't see, but I'm totally wearing a Britney Spears t-shirt.
That is funny. I didn't even notice that.
Did you do that on purpose?
No,
Nice.
I just found it in the closet because I was like, I haven't worn this shirt in a while, and I just put it on.
Fuck yeah.
Pretty sweet. Then his mom comes out and she's like hugging them all and really excited
Yep.
to see everybody. And she hugs Isaac and tells him that he smells like weed.
Yeah, it's funny. This is where I got a little sentimental because I put in my notes. Chris's mom kind of made me tear up at how she lit up when she got to see her son and her
Yeah.
friends. Like it was very like I was like, oh man, that really reminds me of like our friendship too. Because like I was like, our parents love us too, and so it's like, oh, it's nice to
Yeah,
be
that's
like,
true.
and like knowing that her mom, he doesn't see his mom often. And I was like, oh, that's kind of sweet that like she seemed really happy. She was
Yeah, she like
"Oh."
immediately just takes them in.
Yeah, she's like, I'm
It's
so
really
happy, and she feeds him
Yeah.
leftovers from Christmas.
And she asks Ethan if there's a special person in his life, and Chris explains the whole situation
Yeah.
between Ethan and Diana. And she was like, "Well, you never know. Y'all might get back together. There's always magic. There's always magic in Christmas."
People want to forgive at Christmas, she says as well. I like that. That's a cool line.
And
I put Mama Chris is keeping it real with Ethan because he's like yeah he's talking about like how he's afraid to commit, and she's like, that's bullshit. He's like,
Yeah.
if you love this girl, you're gonna have to fight for it. And I was like yeah, Mama Chris keeps it real.
And then Isaac asks for more Chardonnay for his medication.
yeah, and then Chris's mom turns into an octopus.
Yeah, her hands are octopus hands.
It's like,
And he is freaking out. And
and then he receives a dick pic.
Yeah, and it's from a dude named James, and I know that's not my boy James' dick, because his definitely ain't that big.
I literally just put James dick pic.
I put multiple dick pics. Grower and shower.
Yeah.
And he's like, you like that dick? And he says, it's a dope dick.
It's a dope dick. Who would want a dick like that?
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Do you want to suck it?" He's like, I was like, "Yeah, I would suck it." And like one of my favorite quotes is like that's it. I guess I'm sucking a dick tonight.
Yeah.
He also says
Isaac's sucking his first dick.
Isaac Greenberg is sucking his first dick tonight.
He also texts that guy back and tells him that he touched a guy's dick at summer camp.
For being totally honest.
He's like, God, this James guy's so easy to talk to.
I will put he's also the only person that gets a last name in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wrote Isaac Greenberg is sucking his first dick tonight.
That's in my note. Yeah. And then Chris's mom was talking about how they're gonna name a park after him, but it's got a lot of crackheads.
It's got a lot of crackheads in it. Yep.
And then she's
And then-
boxing up the food to take
Yeah.
to the homeless shelter.
And then that's when Isaac shows
shows
Ethan the
Ethan the
dick
cock.
pic, and
Yeah.
he says, "Bro, are you gay?"
He says, are you curious? And he says, everyone is. He says, should I suck the dick?
And then that's when he realizes Isaac and Sarah switched phones.
Yeah, Ethan's like, this isn't your phone. It's Sarah's phone. And then Isaac is freaking out. Isaac starts freaking out because of the baby video.
Yeah.
Where he called his baby a cunt.
He's like, if she sees that video, I'm dead. They will play it at my funeral. And
And then it cuts to Chris and his mom talking, and she's trying to get him to go to church.
he's like, oh, I gotta leave early in the morning, trying to like not do the stuff.
He doesn't want to do it. Yeah. And then it's back to the table, and they're talking about how he made her drink the cocaine blood. And then
They go deliver the food to the homeless shelter, and
Chris is live again.
and he goes, "We out here giving turkeys to the homeless because they do be gobbling."
they do be goblins.
In my notes, I put they do be goblin. ... Dylan Question mark? Because he's the glizzy gobbler.
I am the glizzy guy. The glizzy king.
And then he ends it with, "It's not a good deed if no one knows about it."
And I was like, buddy, that's
it's like, God, you're such a dick.
another one of those. Yeah, God,
That's the
you're
exact
just a
opposite.
douche.
I'm telling you, man, he's a fucking prick, man.
man.
Yeah,
Or at least that's the vibe he puts out there on like social media.
for sure. And then he sees the chick that took the weed.
Yep.
And he goes starts talking to her, and like she's talking about how she hates Christmas, and like she
like,
heard that he was like a famous football player, so she just started like pretending just so she could like fuck with him, basically.
Yeah,
And,
and,
he's like, "Oh, you're actually a Grinch." Like,
Yeah, because I looked up her name. I can't remember what her first name was, but her name on IMDb was literally whatever her first name is, Grinch.
really?
I thought it was really funny.
Well, she also like just turns and knocks a lady's presents out of her hand like while they're talking.
Yeah, and then she's got the Sticky Bandit thing like from Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
He's with the duct tape hands and sticks her hand in the money.
Because she
And
starts flirting with him again.
Yeah.
Well, she starts after she does the sticky bandit.
She's
thing.
like, she's like, that's the thing, bro. I didn't expect to like you.
Yeah, and then she's like macking on him a little bit, and then
Yeah.
she steals his other thing.
You
of
are
weed.
so easy. And she gets the
Yeah.
weed with the Sticky Bandits again.
And then he starts chasing after her, and she throws down.
He gets Home Alone.
Yeah.
She throws down micro machines,
Yeah.
and he fucking slips. I was like, bro, he got Home Alone.
He says she home alone. Me.
And then he gets back in the limo and tells the driver that he needs to follow that girl because she stole your weed. And he goes,
I'll fucking kill her.
he's like, fucking bitch, I'll kill her.
He's like, she's fucking dead. And like, I put in my notes, this is my favorite gag of the whole movie.
Because he fucking floors it.
He's like, I'll fucking kill her. And like, they go through this one alley, and they knock over the homeless guy's fire.
Yeah.
Which is, for some reason, the second time, because I remember, I didn't put a note about it, but I was like, bro, why does this movie hate the homeless fires? Let him be warm. But, and then he's like going through, and then it's a red light, and he's like, Floor, he's like, I'll fucking do it. And they hold hands, they're like, oh, fucking, we're gonna make it, man. and then
they almost do.
they almost do, and then this fucking truck comes out of nowhere and fucking rams him, and he's like, oh, I fucked up.
I fucked up.
This is the funniest gag, because he goes so hard for him, and then he's like, oh no, fuck. Like,
And then they get out of the limo and they go.
he's like, oh yeah, we'll take that. It's like a sleigh with two little horses.
Sleigh.
And Isaac's like, we're going on a sleigh ride.
He calls shotgun.
Shotgun.
And then he whips it, and it goes, and it's chained to the fucking pole.
they go like 3 or 4 feet, and then the pole snags, and he fucking gets fucking yeeted.
They like destroy the sleigh.
and then
And he
Isaac gets
ripped off
yeeted.
because he gets stuck on the reins.
And then like he gets slammed into one of those cone-looking things that shoots out the steam from the
The sewer.
sewer.
Yeah.
It's a pretty hard slam. I was like, Jesus Christ, he must be on a lot of drugs and not feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the gang splits up, so Chris can get his weed, and
Isaac
Isaac can get his phone.
Yeah. It cuts to just Isaac by himself. He's
Yeah.
walking, and he's like trying to figure out the Find My iPhone thing, but
And
he's
he's-
so fucked up on
And he
drugs.
starts talking to a wise man named Spencer.
Well, okay, but first he just goes and asks a random person.
He's like, yeah, hey man, what's up? I can help you out with that. He's like, hold my staff.
Yeah.
And then you find out he's talking to a guy named Spencer, and then he pans over, and it's the fucking wise men from the
It's
nativity.
from the nativity
He's like,
scene.
yeah, this is my family, and it's just the 3 wise
Yeah.
men.
And then he's like, "Oh, you got dogs?"
Can I
and,
pet him? He's like,
And they're
yeah,
just,
sure, go ahead.
they're
He's
donkeys.
like, hey, hi, he's so cute, is he not?
And they
It's
start
fucking
talking back to him, and he says, "Oh my God, your dogs can talk."
hilarious. He's like, all dogs can talk.
All dogs can talk.
He's like, oh, Isaac, we love you. This is so fucking
It's
stupid,
so
but
that's
funny.
so dumb. And then
We
his
see
Betsy shows up, and
It's like, oh, Isaac? He's like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? I'm just talking to Spencer. She's like, who's Spencer?
Yeah.
He's like, Spencer.
and then she's like, "Listen, you need to leave. Like, he needs to leave so their family doesn't see him while he's fucked out of his mind."
He starts walking away, but then comes back because he doesn't know what to do with the
Yeah,
cane.
he
He's like,
doesn't-
what do I? He's like, I don't know, just go.
He doesn't know where to go either. He's like, "Where do I go? Oh my God!"
And then the family walks up. It's like, oh, Isaac, are you here for midnight mass? And like Betsy's like, no. He's like, yeah, I'll go, I guess. And then as they're walking in, he's like, he doesn't know what to do with the staff. He just puts it on. He's just like, don't put it on the stairs. He puts it on the stairs and it just slides down.
Slides down, like,
It's just fucking comedic gold, man.
And then it pans back to Ethan.
Oh, and she also he says, "Am I still your rock?" or something, and she says, "You look like a crack rock."
That was pretty funny.
And then it cuts to Ethan walking.
Yep.
He walks past two
Two
Santas.
Santas
who
who
are
are pissing
pissing.
in the alley.
Yeah.
One of them's played by Jason Mantzoukas, which is really funny.
Is that Rafi?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. He's just funny as hell.
He's also on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
That's no.
Nah, that's the League.
Oh, my bad. I, for some reason, I thought his name was.
I think he
but
has like a similar name. In
Yeah,
Brooklyn
it's
Nine-Nine.
close. Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
And
And,
Ethan bitches at him for being two shitty Santas. He's like, man,
Yeah.
Santa is sacred.
And then they're like, Santa isn't real.
He's like, when you put that costume on, you take an oath to respect Christmas and what it stands for.
And the values of Santa. It's like, what?
And then they call him an elf, and he's like, did mommy and daddy ruin the spirit of Christmas?
And they sucker punch Jason Momoa.
Well, they also say this little elf has no friends on Christmas. And then
he's like, yeah, my friends work down there, man. He's like, yeah, where they at?
and then he's
like, don't call me an elf. He's like, oh, you struck a chord there. And then they keep doubling down on the elf.
And then they say the mommy and daddy thing.
Yeah.
And then he punches
he gets mad
Rafi.
because his parents are dead.
Yeah.
And then he sucker punches him.
And then he tries to fight the other one, and the other guy's like, this really feels like it's about something else.
I know,
I don't wanna hurt you.
he's like, it's about this and only this.
That shit had me laughing.
That's why I thought it was funny, because like back in the day, like in the first watch, I was like, bro, this is bullshit. Why are you beating this guy up? And then after we watched it multiple times, I'm like, no, Ethan kind of deserved this.
He deserved to get his ass beat.
Yeah, he did.
He sucker punched one of them.
Yeah, because on rewatches, I find myself siding with Jason Mantzoukas. He's like, I don't want to hurt you. He's like, no, I want to hurt him. He sucker punched me. I was like, yeah, I would want to hurt him too. Like, what a fucking asshole.
And then one of them says, Ethan says something, and he goes, I teach third grade, bitch.
One of my favorite quote. He's like, I teach third grade, bitch. I shape our nation's youth.
And then the other one's an ortho surgeon. Like, they both deal with kids.
Yeah.
Because I think he's talking shit about how he's done, like, shitty to kids or something for dressing up like Santa or something.
Yeah. He's like, we're doing a Santa pub crawl, bro.
Yeah.
Which I think is a pretty cool idea. I like that concept.
Yeah. And then Diana wants him to... and then Diana gets called by Ethan after he gets his ass beat. Like, he's laying on the ground, and Diana calls him. And this is whenever, like, for sure, Sarah has the phone.
Yeah, she's like, do you have Sarah's phone? He's like, yeah, we got it. We'll be there.
And
then she's like, yeah, I really want to see you. He's like, you do?
Yeah, she's like, hurry up and get to the party, you know? Yeah. And he's like, okay. And then it cuts to the mass again, and they're all, like, saying the prayer, and he, like, starts talking in Hebrew.
He's like, Barukata. She's like, no, we don't do that here.
That one kid's staring, and he's like, that baby's fucking staring.
Well, it's funny, too, because, like, when they all go sit down, he's like, it's the same God.
And, like, he's still standing up, and they're all sitting there, like, oh, shit. And, like, I sit down.
And then he also goes, hallelujah. And she's like, it's not that kind of church. And he's like, okay.
And then the baby's, like, fucking with him in his cocaine-riddled brain.
Yeah, because it says, fuck you.
Fuck you.
He's like, no, fuck you, baby.
And then he hisses at the baby.
Shh. Oh, you guys get the baby stuff? He's like, fucking with me.
And then he sees Jesus on the cross.
Is that what did they think we did that?
He's like, I think I'm gonna barf.
He says, can you tell I'm Jewish?
And she puts in a sweater. He's like, oh no.
Star David on it.
He's like, tries to hide it. He's like, oh no. And he's like, I gotta throw up. She's like, no, you swallow it like a girl would.
And he swallows it. And then she's like, let me see. And when he goes open his mouth, he starts to throw up again. So he gets up and he throws up in the
He starts running away. He's like,
oh, Jesus, fuck me.
Yeah. Everybody's looking at him.
And like, I like how they deal with it too. They're just like looking away, like, oh, we don't know that guy.
And he's like, we did not kill Jesus.
We did not do that.
And then he runs away.
And then my wife was like, he's technically right. It was technically the Romans.
It's true.
That's true.
Because I think it's funny too. Betsy's sister's like, did he just throw up? He's like, yeah, no, he threw up.
No, he's still throwing it.
We did not do that.
And then it pans to
Chasing Hans
Chasing that
Gruber.
girl.
Or
And they're having-
chasing the Grinch.
They're having like a crazy parkour throwdown. Pretty
She
much.
throws a fucking rat at
And then
him.
she throws a rat at him.
I was like, what the fuck?
And then she like stands up on the thing and she
Yeah.
tells him that he should be more worried about his friends.
him to spend more time with his friends before he loses them for good.
Which is it kind of reminds me of Ethan too. Of like this seems like it's about something else.
Yeah.
And then she falls backwards off the roof into a dumpster.
Yeah,
She's like, my boy Hans Gruber went out like this, and I was like, bro, the way she did that shit was sick.
Yeah, it was.
Because like halfway through, she like tuck and rolls or whatever. Like, you know, I was like, that was kind of sick.
And like that was his Christmas lesson.
Yeah, like you need to learn a lesson.
Yeah, she lands in the dumpster and scoots.
It was fucking like it was pretty sick.
And then it cuts to Isaac at the train station because whenever they all broke up or like split up, they said they'd meet at the F train.
Yeah, and then they all kind of meet back up. Chris meets up with him at the gate, and he can't figure out how to
get in. Yeah.
He's like, here. Cause when I first saw this movie, I thought they were going to get in trouble for using the pass twice, but then it didn't happen. But like,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I was like, oh, they're going to get in trouble or something. But then they meet back up with Ethan on the subway.
Yeah, and Ethan's already there.
I think it's funny. They're like, oh, what happened to you? Like, oh, I got beat up by a couple of fucking Santas. He's like, well, did they mug you? He's like, no, they didn't take anything. He's like, what did you do? He's like, I didn't do anything. They just beat me up.
Yeah, and it's
I was
like,
like, yeah.
okay, buddy.
Okay, whatever you say, dude.
You kind of started it.
And then Ethan and Chris blow up at each other.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's sad. bad, dude.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Don't take that sweater off." He takes the sweater off.
Well, because like Ethan calls out Chris.
Like, oh, you magically got good all of a sudden? Like,
Yeah.
You're 32. Most people are retiring by now, but you just got good. Why is that? He's like, oh, that's fine. Oh, you fine? He's like, I'm fine. I'm doing steroids. Yeah.
He's like, I think you're shoving a needle up your
Everyone
ass.
is.
Everybody's on steroids, and then he yells at Ethan about how Ethan is wasting his life.
Yeah, like you're making music for people no one wants to fucking listen. That no one ever fucking hear.
And then Chris takes off the sweater.
And I'm taking the sweater off. This pseudo racist bullshit. Which
Yep.
I mean, I it's not till later I didn't realize that. Like I was like, oh yeah, there is a black Santa on that sweater.
Yeah, there's a black Santa on Chris's sweater.
But I was like, no, I totally get it. Like when you're heated and you're like, kind of reminded me of the scene in Y2K with the shoes where he's like, fuck, why am I doing this? Like he's like, I can see why he'd be mad. I'm like, oh fuck this shit. So he takes the sweater off and like throws it to Ethan.
And then it cuts to them getting to where they were going.
Right, the store.
The store. It's like a corner store.
Yeah. They hand the tickets to the cashier, and the cashier takes them to the freezer, which opens up a secret door.
And in the cooler, there was a bunch of PBR.
I noticed the Reds. That's funny that you noticed PBR. I noticed the big box of Reds.
Yeah.
Also, why would the beer be in the freezer?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's a cooler. And then a freezer is the
Yeah.
other door. That's what I was thinking.
But it's not a freezer, it's a party. But I
That's
put in my
true.
notes that the Nutcracker Ball entrance reminds me of the video for Good Girls Gone Bad by Cobra Starship. Because it's also like a big party hidden disguise behind
Yeah.
the bodega. I was like,
Maybe that's what they were thinking of.
Maybe. I was like, maybe. It was a
Maybe
little
same
bit.
location.
It was a couple years after that music video came out. So I was like, that could be.
Yeah, it's like a lit up tunnel, and there's like a man there
He's like
looking
a
to take
conductor.
their coats. He's
All
the conductor of
aboard!
the train,
It's like a little train you ride into on a tunnel of light.
which is fucking
fucking
sweet.
dope, dude. I just put dope ass train entrance.
And while they're on the train, Isaac does more drugs. He pops some Molly.
yeah.
They go out into they get off the train, they go into the party, and it's like this giant
And they split up
fucking
again.
party, and there's dancing women in a snow globe.
Snowballs, yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Chris goes to find Tommy Isaac.
Tommy Owens.
Tommy Isaac.
And then Isaac goes to
My
find his
bad.
phone,
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess I'll go find Diana.
and Ethan's like, well, I'm going for Diana. And then
I cut the Chris first with Owens, and then it turns out Owens didn't even need the fucking weed. There's
Yep.
like a whole fucking wheelbarrow of weed.
it goes back to what the girl said about not needing to worry about that shit,
like
you know?
worry about your friends, not these fake ass motherfuckers. And I was like, bro, fuck this. I put Owens didn't even need the weed. What a prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it shows Isaac finding Sarah,
And
and she says, take your shitty phone. And he's like,
We have the same phone.
we have the same phone.
That's why we got to mix up in the first place.
Yeah,
And I was like, he's got a point.
And then she's telling him about the James guy, how massive his cock is.
Yeah, he starts telling her about it. He's like, good job about that dick.
Did you see anything? Yeah, I saw that ticket. How could you not?
And then she's like, do you think I can handle the dick? And he's like, honestly, you
For
know,
a moment there, I thought I was going to have to, and
I thought-
I had to wrap my brain around it.
I heard my brain around, and I thought if I hunkered down, I could take that dick.
I could take that bad boy.
I was like, what the fuck?
And then James Franco cameo.
And then it turns out it was James Franco.
It was James Franco. He tells James Franco that he would have sucked his dick. Like, and then James Franco wants to fuck Isaac and Sarah because he
Yeah.
starts flirting with Isaac immediately. And Sarah gets mad. And he's like, "You guys want to?" Well, he's like, "Are you guys like a couple?" And he's like, "Well, I was just with two dudes earlier tonight." And he was like, "Two guys?" And then they all go dance together. And then it cuts to Ethan walking around the party, and he sees Miley Cyrus
At the bar.
And he's like, "Oh my God, you're Miley Cyrus!" And he says, "The girl that I love, she loves you." And Miley's like, "Oh, I've done that with fans before, and it was really awkward."
Oh, Miley Cyrus, hell yeah.
And then he's like, no, not like that. And he explains how much he loves Diana. And he starts talking about that. And Miley thinks that he wants to propose to Diana.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And then
She's like, don't be a fucking pussy.
And then she talks him into it because he starts making excuses. Like,
Yeah.
and then she calls him a fuck. Don't be a pussy. You got to propose to her.
Which is funny because I think it's funny 'cause she's like, "Oh, I don't. You're the type of guy that makes excuses for everything. I hate guys like that." And it kind of like goads him into. He's like, because she's like, "You're not like that." Or he's like, "Oh no, I'm not like that at all." I'm like, "You
No, it's
kind of
literally the
are."
whole
Like,
thing.
it's
Yeah.
almost like he's in denial. Like, bro, if you just accepted who you, because like he just doesn't like he doesn't realize the predicament he's in, which is kind of dumb. Like,
Yeah, I don't
like,
think he realizes how fucked he really is.
Yeah, like it's almost like he feels like he can win her back whenever he wants. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of sad the whole movie that he's not doing it.
And then he calls her Miley Cyrus again, and she's like, "Stop calling me Miley
That was
Cyrus."
funny. What do you want me to call you? Hannah.
Hannah. Bro, that shit got me. I was like,
She's
nice.
like, really? He's like, no, I'm just fucking with you. I'm drunk. She's
then
like,
it-
I'm wasted.
And then it cuts back to Chris,
Yeah,
and the guys
yeah.
start like making fun of him, and they
For
call him like
karaoke with
Reverend
his friends.
Run.
yeah.
And he's like, "What?" And then they show him like apparently somebody took a video
Video of them doing the karaoke.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, you're just as white as your friends," you know. And it's like, dude, why are y'all being a dick to him? Like,
Yeah.
This is where I was kind of with you on the douchebag thing because I was like,
Wait,
Chris. I put Chris as a dick to his friends. What a poser.
yeah, because he's like, "Oh no, it was like a charity thing."
It was a charity thing. That's a Make-A-Wish kid. I'm like, fuck you,
It's like,
man.
dude, what the fuck? Those have
Yeah,
been your
dude.
boys since you were like in high school.
Exactly.
Yeah,
What the
fuck,
you,
dude?
And then it pans back to Isaac dancing with Sarah and James.
Yep.
And she's like, Sarah's like, you're fucking cock blocking me, man.
He says, I don't even think I could block that cock. It would take like 2 cocks to block that cock.
Yeah, and James Franco also is like, does the carpet match the drapes?
He's like, yeah, I have a big bush.
And he's like, this dude furry all over. It's like, what? But yeah, he says it takes 10 minutes to block his cock. and then Miley Cyrus gets up on stage
She starts playing Wrecking Ball.
and starts singing Wrecking Ball because Diana loves it. And then she's like, oh, everybody, let me bring out my friend. And she goes, what the fuck is your name again? And he's like, Ethan. And then he starts singing Wrecking Ball.
He's like, I don't know the words.
Yeah. He does it pretty good, though. It's like kind of
he's a pretty
seamless.
good singer, yeah.
And the duet with Miley. And then he starts talking to Diana.
About how
Dude,
he knows he fucked up.
I thought it was fucking funny while he's like talking. At the end of his sentence, Miley Cyrus would just repeat it while singing it.
Oh, yeah. I wrote down every
On
time she
fucking
did.
Christmas.
She said, none of his shit. Go big or go home on fucking Christmas.
He says, you don't take none of my shit. None of this shit.
Go big or go home. It's like, what is happening right now? And
he proposes. And
yeah, he
Diana says yes, but not very enthusiastic.
Oh, it's funny
And
'cause-
I think it's funny because it cuts to everyone's like, yeah, you gotta say yes, and it cuts to Isaac and Chris being like, no, because they know the predicament Ethan's in, and they know he's fucking up.
And he
And
says,
like I like that duality of like everyone, because one of these I was listening to a podcast recently where someone was talking about like a proposal about it, how like it wouldn't, I think it was like a Reddit story where like they proposed and like it was like a no, and everyone like they wanted to say yes because they didn't want everyone around him. I was like, I feel like it's weird that like all these proposals are like it sucks that like the predicament people put people in of like
yeah.
large crowds, and I was like, it like I definitely get it. That's why I thought it was really cool that they're like, yeah, and they don't know them like Chris and
Isaac do. Yeah.
That's why I like that. Like they're the only ones that get it, even though they were just mad at each other earlier.
I think
they
it's
still have
funny.
their best interests at heart.
There's a part where he says, stop encouraging him, James.
Stop encouraging him, James. That was pretty funny.
And then, yeah, like everyone is pressuring her to say yes, so she does say yes. But the boys know how bad this is.
Yep.
And then Wrecking Ball continues.
Yep. And Ethan and Diana walk off, and Diana's like, I'm not going to marry you. I only said yes because I didn't want Miley to think I hated love.
I don't mind to think I hate
Also, but before that, James Franco tries to kiss Isaac.
yeah, that was
But
funny.
Isaac
He's like,
leaves.
James, I gotta go.
And then Chris goes to leave and tells the football guys to stay black.
But like, I think it is funny the way he's like, I gotta go help my friend. Y'all stay black.
Yeah, he's like, y'all stay black.
His
And he just
delivery
leaves.
is just funny though. He's like, I think it's like the first time he realizes that I need to help my friends, not with these pricks.
not
so,
the fucking
so like I like
distract
it.
football
I like
fans.
it's just like an offhand comment of like, whatever, man, fuck you.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's funny that when Isaac walks away, James is like, you want to take us back to the hotel room? She's like, I think you're gay. He's like, not right now, I'm not.
Not right now, I'm not.
And she's like, okay.
Yeah, I thought that shit was funny.
It pans back to...
He says, all this romanticism is getting me hot.
Pans back to
Diane and Ethan, yeah.
And she goes, I'm not your answer. And I put fucking brutal, brother.
Yeah, because I love the way she said it too. She's like, I know you're going through a lot right now. Your friends don't want to hang out with you on Christmas. I get it, but I can't
be your lifeline.
exactly.
Yeah.
Which I like that. That was a good one too. And then like I just put on my notes like Ethan doesn't understand. He doesn't even understand what he's doing wrong. So he can't fix it if he doesn't even know what he's doing wrong.
Yeah.
Because he's just gonna do the same thing again.
And then Isaac runs into Tommy Owens.
Yeah. He's like, oh, you're the Messiah. You saved my fantasy team last year.
Yeah.
And then
And he tells them that they have a friend in common.
Yeah.
and
then
then
he hits like there's like that big silver ball on the floor.
yeah, and it rolls away.
And he hits it, and it rolls into a guy, and then he goes to pick it up, and he accidentally hits the dude with the ball, and then he turns, and he hits like a waiter carrying glasses.
yeah.
And then he like tries to help the waiter pick up the glass.
And then he's got this other piece of glass and he trips and then he like stabs it into Tommy Owen's hand onto the snowflake. And then he fucking I put in my notes, Isaac crucifies the Messiah.
Well, because there's another guy that screams, the Jewish guy crucified the Messiah.
And then in my next note is, I guess he really did kill Jesus.
And then
We did not do that to Jesus. I beg to differ.
somebody calls him a rabbi dancing motherfucker. I was like, what?
And then it pans to Chris.
Well, he also goes, it's happening again. And then it does pan to Chris. Yeah.
And
he
he stands
tries-
up for Isaac. He's like, he's back off my fucking
Oh,
friend.
no. He tries
to congratulate Diana.
Oh, that's right.
And she's like, go talk
Go talk to Chris. I gotta go.
She's like, stop congratulating me. Go talk to your friend.
Yeah.
And then Chris overhears the scene with Isaac, and that's when he jumps in to save his friend.
Yeah,
He
and he saves him
threatens
with
him
the
with TMZ. Isaac's like, his social media game is crazy.
Yeah, he's like, who all follows C Money? And it's like everybody in there.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah.
He's like, hit me. TMZ would love that shit.
Yep. And then they get kicked out of the party. Chris and Isaac.
Yeah, and then Ethan goes to the roof, and Mr. Green is there.
And then you find out that it is Mr. Green's party.
The Nutcracker
all
Ball
along.
is Mr. Green's party.
Yeah, he ends every Christmas at this party because it's his party.
Well, he said he started it 20 years ago when he read The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
He's a sucker for Leo.
Yeah. I put in my notes, I am also a sucker for Leo.
And he says he thought it was cool as fuck that nobody knows.
Who throws the party?
Who
Like, he
throws
just
the party.
this party that's like a huge party that no one knows who throws it, but they
Yeah.
just.
Because he says the Miley Cyrus thing is new, and he was like, how was her performance? And he says good, and he says, you and I both know that Miley was flawless. What's bothering you?
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. The way his delivery, man, I'm telling you.
Well, he also adds that he added the train this year. And it was
Yeah,
a
he's
cool
like,
way
hey, like
to
that.
enter the
He's like, it's a cool fucking way to enter a party. I was
way
like,
to
it
enter
really
a party.
fucking is.
And then he shows him a weed, and he says it's the staff of life.
Because he says his friends always need him, and then hands him the joint.
Yeah,
Well, he also says that he makes people uncomfortable with his quiet intensity.
I've had that effect on people.
But he also says sometimes being uncomfortable can be a good thing.
And then he offers him. He's like, "Oh no, weed makes me paranoid." He's like, "Bro, this is the staff of life."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it's,
then
it's the weed of Christmas past.
and then Ethan smokes up and returns to the past.
Yeah.
And it's the first Christmas he has without his parents.
Yep.
Yep. And then I put, goddamn, I love this movie. This scene makes me tear up every time.
Yeah, I cried during this scene.
It's-
too.
I cry every
Yeah,
time.
Yeah, me too, buddy.
The scene always makes me even in theaters. I was like, "Fuck!" Like I think that day in theaters, but that scene, I was like, "Fuck, this is a really good Christmas movie."
Yeah.
And then now I can comfortably say it's like my favorite.
And then like they just show up and they're like, "Hey man, you know, like we can get you out, we can go drink or whatever. We can play video games and hang out."
Because they keep saying all this stuff like, "Oh, we'll go play golf."
And he keeps saying no.
He's like, "No, I appreciate it, though." And you can tell he's not trying to have it, but his friends are just trying to be there.
They like refuse to leave him alone.
Yeah.
And then like Chris pulls out the whiskey
Yeah.
and Isaac pulls out the hash that he stole from his brother.
Yeah.
And then Ethan starts
Ethan
crying.
just breaks down and like, oh,
And
fuck.
that's whenever I started.
Like
crying.
every time, like I always feel it coming, and then when he starts breaking down, and his friends are, I was like, oh, it gets me every time.
Yeah, they crowd around him and they says, "Hey man, we're your new
We're your
family,
new family
now."
now, which is fucking. I love it.
And then it pans back to him and Mr. Green, and Mr. Green says, that was fucking touching,
That was
yo.
fucking touching,
That-
yo.
That's some ride or die
Yeah, he's got
homies
you
right
got some
Yeah.
ride or die homies, and I was like, "Fuck."
Because my next note is just Mr. Green's crying, just like me.
And then Ethan says it's different now, and they don't need him.
there. And then that's when you hear them getting kicked out, and they're looking for Ethan. They're like,
Yeah, they're like screaming for their boy.
We need to find our friend.
Because
Mr. Green's
I think
like,
it's funny because he's like, oh, they don't need. Because it's funny he said they don't need me, and then he said, we need him. Where's he at?
Yeah.
I like
Well,
that.
Mr. Green's like, "Listen,"
Yeah.
and then you hear him screaming, trying to get him.
We need our friend. He's like,
And-
it's a brother dash. I like how he said, cherish that shit.
And they see him on the roof.
And
He's
then,
like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're looking for you.
yeah.
He's like, I'll be right down. And then Chris steals the bouncer. The bouncers are dressed like Rudolph. He's like, I got your nose. He pulls their nose off. I got your fucking nose.
And then it pans to the morning.
Yep, cuts to the guy sitting at the river looking at the water, talking
Yeah.
about their night and what he did with Diana. And then this is whenever Ethan finally realizes how good he is
Yeah.
at making excuses.
I put Ethan finally understands he has to face his problems head on.
And Isaac tells him, he's like, "I mean, you have a good reason to make excuses, but it's ruining your life."
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Which, I mean, like, that's
Yeah.
that's probably hard to hear, you
Oh,
know?
God, yeah.
because he's like she didn't want you to do hard stuff. She wanted you to just do normal relationships.
Yeah, like
shit.
normal boyfriend shit.
And he's like, I had not normal things happen to me.
And then they're all sitting there, and he says, "It's hard to stay friends with people when you're getting older."
Yeah, you have so much of your own shit going on. And then Chris says we have to try harder because it's important. And then I also tear up at this scene too. I was like, fuck, man, I felt that.
Yeah.
And then Isaac says he has 96 missed calls, and they're all
Betsy.
My phone auto-corrected that to Becky, even though I have multiple times putting her down as Betsy.
That is weird.
And then
The
he
fuck?
gets another phone call like immediately.
Yeah.
He gets another phone call, and it says that they say that
He
Betsy's
says, oh
going
shit,
into
Betsy's
labor.
in labor.
And they all start running, and they still like Mr. Green's car's just sitting there open with the keys in it.
Yeah.
And he goes, "It's Mr. Green's car!
Oh,
it's a Christmas miracle!"
Before that, I put Isaac Kevin McAllister's because he does the That was funny.
And then they drive
They
off.
steal Mr. Green's car, and then
It pans to him. He goes, "I believe
I
I've
earned
earned
these. And he
And
turns into a fucking angel.
and just flies away.
It's like, what the fuck? Oh shit! I love this movie.
As it got to the hospital, but it was just a false alarm.
They realized
Well, it's funny too while they're riding to the hospital because Chris and Isaac are in the
Yeah,
back.
like it's like he's pregnant.
Yeah, Isaac's acting like he's the one that's having the baby. And then they get there and they find out that she's not going.
And then he comes clean and shows her the video because he wants to like clear the air.
He says he went on a spirit quest on all the drugs. That's where he's been lying.
And she's like, "Did you just call her baby a cunt?"
He's like, yeah, no, I did.
Yeah, because
And he's like, I'm honestly glad you're laughing. He's like, why are you laughing? She's like, I'm honestly relieved that like you also have like it felt wrong for me to just to have these doubts. So I feel relieved that we both are kind of freaking out. But because I think my notes say it best. Betsy's relieved that Isaac has doubts, but together they can accomplish anything.
yeah.
and
And then she says that she is his Dwayne.
then Isaac says, I get to fuck Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
He's like, "It's like Dwayne Rock Johnson."
and like he also called her a dragon at
Well,
one.
yeah, like this is like right after that because she says I love you and he says I love you
too, Dragon Betsy.
Betsy.
Dragon Betsy's like, yeah, I'm still pretty fucking tweaking.
And then she goes,
He's like, oh, please don't. I'm scared.
and it scares him. He's like, "Oh, can we just get out of here?"
And then we cut to Chris talking to his mom about coming clean about the steroids.
Yeah.
And his mom's like, it's not going to be easy. It shouldn't have been easy to tell me that, but it's not going to be easy to tell the world either.
And then he says, "I guess we're gonna lose the park." And she says, "Man,
Fuck
fuck
that
that park."
It's got crackheads.
It had crackheads anyways. And also,
And I love that too. It's like the mom's like, I don't care about the fame. I just care about my son.
it also shows Isaac and them opening presents, and Isaac gets a mug that says "World's Greatest Dad."
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny because he had the one that said "World's Smallest Cock."
Exactly. It was a callback to that. Yeah.
It's like, hell yeah,
You
dude. Got
knew.
another mug. And then Ethan.
Shows up at Diana's house.
Yep. I put Ethan goes to a house. I would assume it is Diana's parents' house. It is.
It is.
You know,
Yeah.
I've already seen this movie.
Because she did say, she said earlier that she was staying with her parents.
And he apologizes about their proposal and then about their failed relationship.
And then he says he just wants to talk to her and tell her something because it's Christmas.
Yep.
And
He's like, I know I make a lot of excuses and I'm sorry, but I don't want to anymore.
yep. And he says that
This is the best line.
it's insane. He wouldn't meet her parents, scared because Chris and Isaac are his family, and didn't want to change everything. Everything changes. He wants to grow up.
But I want to. Like he's like, but I want to do it with you because I love you.
Yeah.
And then he says because he says it kind of weird. He's like, just pretend I'm saying it right. You know what I mean? Because he's like, oh yeah, I know. I just kind of told you that I kind of want to have kids with you too. Like I know that's worse than proposing.
Yeah.
but
He says like
he's
he
like,
wants
just try and pretend I'm saying it right.
He says he wants the family to be her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is that's a good line too.
It
And then
is.
my favorite line is that from now on I'd rather be the guy that says too much than not enough.
Yeah, I wrote that down,
I
too.
put that's a fire fucking line.
And then this is whenever Diana admits that she knew he was gonna be at that bar.
Yeah, because I called.
Yeah.
I mean, even on the first one, as a rewatch, I was like, because like not, how, like you watch a movie and like there's some things you don't remember, even though I
Yeah,
watch it.
for sure.
I was like, yeah, you could clearly tell.
And then you find out that she's been asking Betsy
Yeah.
about Ethan a
Yeah.
lot.
But Betsy never lets on, which I think is pretty funny. It's like women are tight like that. Like
And
they
then-
don't.
But she's
they don't
telling
let their
Diana
friends-
that Ethan asks about her.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Um,
like women, homies help homies.
Homies help homies. And then
We cut to and then
Ethan asks to come in and meet
Yeah.
her parents.
Yeah.
fuck her dad.
And he's gonna fuck her dad. But don't do
do
dad
doggy
doggy
style.
because he's got bad knees. And then he
Me
kisses
too,
her
brother.
before they come in.
Yep.
And then she
they're-
says, "Come have sex with my mother and my father." And I was like, "Huh?" And he
Hold
says, "Did you say sex?" And she's like, "Yeah, with my mother and my father."
So,
And then it's 1 year later, big family dinner.
Because my note before we get to the 1 year later, I put Chris's mom was right. Christmas magic does work.
Christmas magic.
And then 1 year later,
Big family dinner, and then it's just the boys and all their families.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you find out that the baby's born and like it's getting fussy, and they're like, oh, well, we can go sing to it, and I think it's cool. I mean, in my notes I put the singing the DMC tradition is one of the traditions from their old that stayed alive.
Yeah.
They're singing to the baby.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's cool that like they still get to do Christmas like that. Like,
Yeah, for sure. Like,
a little bit of it survived through like the evolution of it. It
yeah,
was cool.
and then the movie, well, it says the end, and then Tracy Morgan says, "How's that for a Christmas story?"
I put Tracy Morgan as Santa, and Mr. Green is Santa's son.
He says, "Shit happened. Friends were important, but relationships evolve." And then it shows Mr. Green's up there, and he tells him how good of a job he did.
Thanks, Pops. That means a lot.
And then the creator by Pete Rock and See How Smooth Plays while the credits run.
Time to get wrecked with the creator. Great fucking movie.
It really is.
It was a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Agreed.
Like I said, like up until I've watched it 3 times now, and 2 of them were in the last like week and a half.
I watch it pretty much every year.
Yeah, I feel like I will probably add this to my holiday lineup. But yeah, man, It's a good movie.
Good, great movie.
What would you rate it?
I'll start. Since it's a Christmas movie, and like I already don't really hold them in high regard regardless. Even though I do love this movie, I don't want to go too high, but I don't want to go too low either. I'm gonna stick with like a nice 8 because
Really?
it's up there for like one of my favorite movies, but I don't want to go too high, and I feel like 8 is a good number to be like, you know, I don't want to overly.
I was doing 8 out of 10, and I put my favorite Christmas movie of all time. I've loved this movie since watching it in theaters in 2015, and I still love it. The only reason I'm not going like super high with like a 9 or a 10 is because like I can only watch this during one time of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
like,
Yeah.
I would give it like an
like-
8 too, because
like-
I don't really like Christmas movies.
like a 9 or a 10 to me is something I can watch no matter what time of year.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is,
yeah.
this is
I can
only-
just throw it on for background
Yeah.
noise, and I can do that. I can do that with this too, but only at Christmas.
Yep.
Although I will say
good
I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd. I did.
That's fair. Like
But
it's a fun time. It's a fun time.
But I'm not gonna give it like a full 10.
Yeah.
You know,
I just
on the
can't.
podcast.
Yeah,
I'm not going to.
I just don't think it needs the 10 just because like it's a Christmas.
It's a Christmas movie.
That's like, because I know some people would be like, oh, it's a Christmas movie. You should, but for me, it's just like that's what brings it down. It not down in terms of quality,
Yeah.
just down in terms of like
I
it's
can
just a
only-
Christmas movie.
I
You
can
know,
But
only
they
watch
do
it during this time of year.
They
Yeah.
do a good job with like, you know, the
Everything
adding
else.
the past, present, future, like the
yeah,
Scrooge
I
shit.
love that
And like
mechanic of like
they do a lot of like Christmas cliches.
Yep.
But it's also like a good like
Inverted
almost
as
like
well.
a stoner buddy comedy at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
And they do a good job.
that has a lot to do with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg too, because like
That's like
they
their
have
thing.
some fire scripts, like because
Yeah.
it really does remind me of just like a kind of like a in the future Superbad
For sure.
which they also wrote because like, you know, they're older but they still have to kind of drift apart. They're very good at that.
Yeah.
Their writing styles are very good at that.
But that was a good movie.
It was.
That was a good Christmas movie, juiced.
Has anybody got anything else to add?
I think this movie's been juiced.
Listen to the podcast.
Listen to this pod, bitch.
All right, well, that's another movie juiced. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Follow us on Facebook at Movie Juice, Instagram and Twitter at Movie Juice Pod. We have a coming soon website at www.moviejuicepod.com. Hopefully, in the coming year, it'll be a full website. Who knows? You can, if you have any things to add about movies we've already watched, or if you want to suggest any movies, or if you just have any funny ratings you want to give us, you can email us. We'd love to hear from you at moviejuicepod@gmail.com. All of our links can be found on our link tree, which is on our social medias. We are on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube. You can follow us all individually on Instagram and Twitter. Our handles are in the description below. We will be back next week for the very first night of Hanukkah. We will be doing 8 Crazy Nights, which is starring Adam Sandler. And as always, I've been Dylan.
I've been Kyle.
And I've been James. And for one last time, this has been The Juice.